Hi there, welcome. I'm gonna show my template in this video because somebody asked. And yeah, it shows one thing here, and that's beat. I gotta open the Chord Arranger and marker. And this is because, let's see if we can find a random beat. We just take this one, boom, and we drag this into there, and you got the chords of the song. So you don't really have to think about it. If you want to play together with, let's say somebody comes in and I want to make a cover song, I do this, I just up to the chord track and let's go. And then I'm saying like, where do you want the chorus? Okay, the chorus is here. Okay, and then so which part are we going to record? I always know. Yeah, let's go to the verse. I know. Okay, the verse. Let's go to the verse. If there's something special, I use the markers. I use my fader port to just place markers, like if there's something there I need to fix later. Now we do get a fader port right here, which you probably can't see, and the fader port is great. And to use the fader port effectively, I've added lots of effects tracks that are just basically waiting here to get used. It's just lots of different delays and verbs that I just, when somebody comes in and want to record something, I can just hit. If you hear my voice right here, I use a separate monitor track to listen to the booth so that I can record them without and hear them at the same time, because I got my own talkback that goes into the booth, and I want to hear them even though we're done recording and stuff, because maybe they tell me like, I want to hear that again. I want to hear them even though we're listening back to the things we've recorded. So I have my own monitor track in this template. And if I go to sends here on the fader port and I turn this one up, ooh, and if we want a long haul, shorter haul, shimmer, and then maybe we want some delay. Quarter notes with the distortion. Yeah. And then we got eighth notes. Yeah. If you want that. And let's mute that buzz with the effects. So one part of this template is to have all 8 different sort of sends just ready to go, and they're not customized for what I'm doing or the song or whatever. I just, if you want a haul, if you want to play it, if you want a delay, you just know. And clients will often just come in and be like, yo, can I get more like reverb? And you will be like, you just understand what type of reverb they want. If they're singing choral songs, Ave Maria, you go like, Ave Maria. My voice. I lost a note right there. That's what a cold does to you. Whatever. Still, if they want that whole effect, you can just do it on a fader port, and they're like, it's too dry. And I'll just like, yeah, I want to go back to so I can control that on the fader port. And I just copy those settings. I start with those settings on the monitor, and every time I add a track to record to, which I do on a hotkey, and I give it the name chorus. Let's add a chorus track. Then what I usually do is just I figure out what do they need in this track, and do they want to sound like what they sound like in their own ears right now, and I just copy everything straight over, and then I tell it, okay, let's do it one more time. I'll add auto-tune to you. Go. Click record, and I still hear them talking, because it will be like this. I use the alternate 4 here, and I just go like, yeah. If you mute this and go like, Yeah, but the ba 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 ba. Oh, let's listen to that, I say, and they say,
Yeah, let's listen.
yeah, but the ba 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 ba.
No, that sucked. Okay, let's do it again.
And then oops, I just turned off monitoring on myself because this monitor track is used for the booth mostly, so that I can hear whatever they try to do. Now, the beat track is just a track I got open, usually with the VU meter, just to keep tabs and everything. And yeah, it's set to loop back by default. All right, now this is set to tractor because I got a tractor DJ board connected also, but let's change that to loopback so I can record things from YouTube if people want to make a cover and I need to learn the chords or whatever. You can just record it straight from Spotify, YouTube, whatever, and just practice. We can also then take the chords from the Spotify version into Studio One here and just see, and I can play after it. Stop calling. So much calling. Shit. And yeah, the rest here is everything goes into the main out. I got a minus 5 dB because I don't like gain staging is the thing of having the volume the same after every process thing that happens. So that it's gain matching basically. That's what gain staging actually means. It means that when you turn up the volume with makeup gain in a compressor, and when you use a compressor that turns the volume down, you have the volume the same level afterwards or in a decent level after the processing. And that's actually gain staging. Gain staging is not setting levels because that's called setting levels. And in the digital world, some plugins care, some plugins don't. Like if it's 32-bit, it doesn't really care. Like as long as you're in the ballpark, you're okay. And even if my main out is clipping in Studio One, if my speaker's not clipping, it's not. I don't care. So in the final restoration of the sound, everything is done post, anyways. So. Because I got a video on that myth of what's it called, gain staging, and how you need minus 12 dB or else it sounds like shit. It does not matter at all unless you use some plugin that's a virtualization or what's it called, a clone of a real deal, and that likes a certain level. Unless that's the case, it really doesn't matter. Like Pro L doesn't give a shit. If it's minus 12, minus 8, no. And if you see here, like, I got a minus 5 dB here. It's just to make the volume lower in a order. If I wish to use some, like, ozone, and I hit ozone too hard. Because if you hit, like, Pro C, the compressor of Fab Filter, too hard, you can't go above 0. So you have to turn it down because of limitations within the software. It's not to get a better sound, it's to get the control back. So it has a purpose. So that when everything hits the master, if it's a bit too hot, I just have a button there to turn down. So easy. Then I use the VU meter to see like, am I in the ballpark? Because I use K metering. And that's because I've calibrated the speakers to have a certain level at 0, K minus 12 at 0, I think. Let's double check. Yeah, K12. When it's at 0, it should be at a certain volume. And depending on my dim settings, it should hit 85, 75, 65, and 95 dB. 95 just for loud checking, like a few times. And yeah. Other than that, I use my Stream Deck to control all the buttons here on the listen bus. It controls a dim function because I got a dim function on the Focusrite 8920. It tunes everything down by 20 dB, but I also have the dim button here set to, it's just a, if you see here, it's just a mix tool that turns everything down by 10, and I have it controlled by the Stream Deck. And then got a mono button to turn everything into mono, And then I got a mid-range focus where I can let's listen just to the bass, for example, or listen as it was intended just to the mid-range to see if it's any mess in the mid-range to get the subwoofer and everything out of the way. And then after all these metering and all this weird stuff, we come here to, because this one, Slick EQ, has a setting that is like the Muncher curve, and I just use it to sometimes, if I make bass heavy music and listen low, I like to boost the lows and highs just to get the feeling that I'm listening at a louder level. That's everything that does, and the rest here is just metering, and it doesn't really matter what it is. Tone balance from Ozone is one of them. Just scope is turned off right now, and phase metering and everything that is native to Studio One. And I got a sound ID there just in case, like room correction just in case. And a flux, which is, Google it, it's an analyzer. And it's really cool to use when you're almost done with the production and you wanted to master and everything and you want to see the nebula and stuff. Flux is really cool. Other than that, the cool thing here, or the special thing about this preset, is this post fader stuff. Because I do speaker switching by controlling gates. I got gates set up to react to everything and reduce everything by as much as possible. And by clicking a button on my Stream Deck, I switch which gate is bypassed and which gate is not bypassed. And thus, I can switch between the Care Case and the Yamaha speakers. So they can switch back and forth. And also, instead of using the crossover of the subwoofer, which I'd need to go behind the subwoofer and change, I use a splitter in Studio One to change the subwoofer frequency. So I split between the speakers and the subwoofer here, so I can keep it super low and basically bypass the subwoofer, or I can keep it quite high to get more subwoofer oomph on the kicks and everything, like having more of that car effect. So these are all pipeline plugins. I hope I have you on the right screen. Shit. I haven't shown you everything, and I don't get time to redo this right now. But here, what I was showing you with this, you can change here the frequency, and you can have the car effect here-ish. And then everything this does is using the Pipeline XT with no return to just send the signal out to the outputs, which is here. And then you see the subwoofer just has a sound ID curve. Now, the subwoofer does not have any high-end information, but the low end is kind of like the Care Case low end, so I actually use that preset, and it works fine. There's not that many builds where they shouldn't be, like standing waves. Or standing waves? Resonant buildups, is that standing waves? Or have I misunderstood? Don't quote me on that. I mean, like resonant, when it's 10 dB louder on one frequency, that's what I'm talking about. I haven't seen any of those issues after calibrating lately. And then I got the sound delay plugin, which is free. It's right here. And I use that to delay in meters. And then I've tried to use that sample delay. I wonder if I use that on the Yamahas. No, I didn't use it this time, because I've changed the positions of them, and it's to make the subwoofer and the speakers hit at the same time, because transients will get more loose, more bleh, if the subwoofer hits after the speakers, because it's further away. So since all the speakers aren't the same length away from me, I wish to have full control over the delay in space. And since sound travels a certain amount per second in ideal temperatures and everything, you can just use the meter, and you can use the ruler to just check how far it is, and then I use this to line it up and then do not null tests, but basically like you put up a mic towards the speaker and the subwoofer, And if you flip the face, you should get some canceling when they're playing the same frequency. Of course, the speakers don't totally cancel because they, what's it called? They're not the same speaker. But let's say you play, you don't flip the face and you get a lower volume when you turn up the subwoofer. You know, okay, shit, they're not playing at the same phase. So then you shift the phase by changing the metering until you actually manage to almost double the volume by having both speakers fire at the same time in the same volume. Because that's basically what happens. If both two speakers play 0 decibels full scale, you should have a 3 dB bump or 6 dB. 3 or 6. Room acoustics, there's so much stuff to it. I really need to have a board in front of me and go through data to explain that perfectly. Do not take my word for everything. The musical energy doubles when you double, like if you double the speaker amount, let's say. So a mono signal is thus louder than a pan signal. That's why we have panning law, which increases the volume, blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to talk about all that. And then I got sound ID, 2 different sound ideas, which is room correction, and one for the Yamahas and one for the KOKs. And here I usually have it on a mix cube setting to have a narrower range. So I use that even more now than the, than my mid-range button over on the listen bus. Yeah, and I've also phase inverted this because I found when I had the right range, it was perfectly out of phase, and instead of trying to tune that with the sample delay, I instead just phase inverted it afterwards, and it worked perfectly. So that's good. So now the KRK Yamahas are in line with the sub. And I've hidden this monitor track from the view here, down here. So if I go here, it's just hidden. And the same with the splice bridge. I also got a splice bridge on. So if I wish to use splice, I can just unmute that one. And an easy way to do it is to do it with the fader port, because then I don't need to see it, because I don't wish to mix it, but I can unmute and unmute it from the fader port. So if you see here, I can just click the fader port and unmute it by clicking one button there, boom, instead of finding it in the menu here and that's a hassle. So I keep it hidden. I just click virtual instruments, turn on the splice bridge, and splice bridge is a plugin which is used by Splice now, so you can get the right levels and have things synchronized with your project while you're working with it. So that's great. Other than that, all my effects go into the same bus, which is an FX bus. I always use an FX bus. And other than that, I leave it open. I just have it like this, because most likely people will record to a beat. If they don't, if we were playing instruments or I do the piano and VSTs, I just remove the beat part. And then we take it from there, go here, and we just drag in some instrument, let's say a piano, and we take it from there. I also, since I've come from not a musician background, but more of a vocalist, rapper type of background when I was little, I always count bars to the end, not from the start. Like this would be bar 1. But to me, I count bar 1 when it's done. I spit 1 bar when it's done. I don't count bars from when I start the bar, because when you say when you spit 2 bars, so I'm gonna kick, I'm gonna dig it, that's 2 bars. If I go, I'm gonna dig it, you didn't finish those 2 bars. That's not 2 bars. That's 1.5. So I counted from, I'm done with 1, I'm done with 2, I'm done with 3, I'm done with 4. Because when I'm writing bars and I want to write a 16 verse, I just count to 16 here. And for the longest time, until this year actually, I've always counted it. I've counted to let's say 17 minus 1. 9 minus 1. Okay, that's 8. And I found out that it's quicker in my head to just have a grid where it's 4, 8, 16, 12, because that's, in my mind, it's the end of the bar that matters. If I want a 16 bar verse, I drag a arranger track until the 16 bar mark, and that's a 16 bar. I don't drag it to the 17 and then that's correct, because remove 1. So it's just a different way of thinking of it. I just like it this way. So I've shifted it. And then I have my start point right here. So if you go to the ruler here and add it for seconds, I usually just click like this. Have to do it every time. I don't know why it doesn't update with the template. Or maybe it does. And I forgot to do it in case I'm stupid. But yeah, it's 0 here. And then that's time and that's bars. And the reason I got this before the start is sometimes people want to start directly on the start of the beat, or you want to play on the start of the beat and just have like a swoop up. And then we work from 0 and onwards, and I just place a start marker when we export the song. So I like to have time, and also what you can do is just place things before here, like even have click tracks that come in before, because if you use the metronome here, you can just render a click track, boom, and then you have a click track on the start of it. There. I'm going for... And then they can start singing at the start of the song instead of hitting... It's especially cool if they start singing before the music comes in, like, I got my way, and then you can remove the chord that got them into the right key afterwards and then continue. So that's why I've set these start markers where I have set them. Anything else? This one is not the basic monitor track which I use. I just have an empty fat channel, but it's just for this video that I've added more compression and things to make my speech clear, since I'm quite far away from the microphone right now, or not that far, it's just 20 centimeters or something. Oh shit, I got to go. Is there anything else I need to say? My I/O is just this and this. Just a compressor and some speakers. And yeah, I've grouped the speakers, but not the subwoofer, and that's because you use the listen bus volume to control all the speakers, and if you then want to have more sub, you can just click on the fader port, outputs, blast the sub up. If you see this right now on the screen, you blast the sub up, and then all the rappers go like, "Ooh, yeah, that's my jam, yo." You do this, and they're like, no, that song sucks. And you just boom. And then these two move fixed to each other, depending if you need to have a custom volume balance to impress the client, or yeah, you just had a day where 75 was too little and 85 was too much, but you want the subwoofer to hit as hard, whatever. I don't know why I'm explaining that. So yeah, this is what it looks like. And yeah, is there anything else? I also got the Q mixes goes to the booth, basically. So you got your own Q mix here, goes to the booth, and the booth is an output. Yeah, and also the preset. That I actually forgot that the template includes 3 screens. So I got one screen here. Let's open the piano again. One screen for the edit view. And I got one screen for the console view and one screen for the playlist view. So I always got my eyes on everything, whatever I wish to look at. And I got my own macro strip up here. And I think that's everything about this template. It's just quite simple, and it's an universal one. I use this for everything. Making beats, let's go. Recording someone to a beat they have bought on BeatStars, let's go. Recording piano and making a song with a guitarist, let's go. I always like to start with an empty slate because I don't know who's coming through my door and what they need. And instead of removing everything and choosing the right template and then having to organize 10 different templates, I just have one go-to, boom, and I can click a few buttons and I can customize it into any template I wish to. Because if I want to add a plugin, let's say I want to add a serum, I just click the serum button on my Stream Deck and boom, you have a serum. Now, the serum took a long time to load, but it's there. And I can choose preset, whatever. So instead of having a template that instantly loads everything, I instead have macros and buttons to load things quickly. And then I start with the template and then I click a button, get the instrument, boom, let's go. Because the client comes in, I don't know what he wants. And then he says, yo, I got this beat, man. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And it's like, I just want to test it before I record the song to it. And we record some of BeatStars and he tries his sound and he's like, nah, I didn't like that. Let's do the next one. And we find a beat he likes and then it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy that one. And we go buy it, put it on, boom, find the chords. I add an extra bass line because it lacked bass for some reason. And we go from there. Just clicking a few buttons, getting everything done. But I start with a clean slate every time and then I quickly get into everything. And the only thing I load up before the project start is reverbs and stuff. Because no client want to wait while you tune your reverb, man. That's like small shit. That's like shit you can do afterwards. So this video is done. Done. I'm telling you. This was quick. I gotta go.